October 13th, weekly energy update. Today we have Pluto going direct, and Pluto is in Aquarius around 1 degree. Pluto is the god of the underworld. Pluto is a transformational agent in our lives, wherever you have Pluto. If you have planets and degrees in the early, like 1, 2, or 3 degrees of a fixed sign, Taurus, Aquarius, Leo, um, who am I missing? Scorpio. You may be feeling the influence of Pluto. It's subtle but perceptible and deep. And the way that it usually works is that at first, with a Pluto transit, you feel helpless as you become aware of things you don't want to become aware of, because that's what it does, is it kind of goes into the underground part of us and makes you aware of things you don't want to be aware of. You don't really want to look at these things. Often they're psychological. They may be traumatic things that have formed your psychology into a former version of yourself that's now transitioning or evolving. And just, we're afraid to open that dark closet. We don't, it's like the boogeyman under the bed. We don't want to look. The part of us that doesn't want to look is being asked to look. And compelled is a really good word for Pluto. We're being compelled to look at things that are fear-based, that are not allowing us to grow into the better version of ourselves, the highest potential, the soul, what the soul wants for you. So we feel helpless at first because we can feel this, we're being compelled by the god of the underworld to explore dark aspects of our own psyches that we're not like, no, 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 I don't want to do that. I don't want to look at that. And yet we do look at it, and then we feel helpless like we did when the thing happened, if it's a memory or just a psychological aspect that we are exploring that brings up a feeling of helplessness. So that would have happened during the first uh, months of this year. And then since May, Pluto's been retrograde. So for the last 5 months, we've been getting accustomed to looking at this thing we don't want to look at and letting ourselves kind of sit with it until we feel that this thing hasn't got power over us anymore. And as it moves forward, whenever a planet moves forward, it begins to externalize that. And remember that Pluto's about gaining power in consciousness over fear. So wherever you've been fearful or felt like something really was in charge of you, this is where Pluto has been working, pretty deeply on you. Like it could be, depending on where it is in your chart, a fear of acting, a fear of expressing. It could be a fear of being. It could be a fear of anything. And unless I'm looking at your chart, I can't tell where it is. But in any case, for all of us, Pluto moving forward is the gathering of all that you have learned, and psychologically, subconsciously, even just in this deeper aspect of yourself, and beginning to move it outward into the world in your choices, decisions, and perceptions. So that's a big deal, especially if you have those degrees of the fixed signs. Also, Venus is moving into the sign of Libra, where it feels pretty good, really, really ready to embrace the love nature, embrace things we love, embrace a receiving of what we love, and the things that are luxurious to us, and the things that make us really happy to be alive, because that's Venus. There is an opposition to Neptune initially. So Neptune is kind of a hard planet to understand because it's very much about this sort of illusionary space that we find ourselves in. Sometimes it's imaginary and it's like the higher octave of Venus, but opposite Venus, it's going to ask us to question, why do you want that? And is that truly what you want? Or are you basing this on some illusionary person or, idea or some attainment that isn't really grounded in reality? The outer planets are so interesting because, and I want to say about Neptune, that it requires a sacrifice of something that we're attached to in order for us to move forward and feel that higher octave of unconditional love and the frequency of sort of more of a spiritual love that isn't a physical kind of expression. It's just like how the spirit loves from a higher unconditional level, whereas, Venus can be very conditional, like, I want that jacket in red, I don't want it in blue, and if it's in blue, I'm not going to be as happy with it. You can translate that to relationships as well, the conditional aspect of relationships, like, I love you as long as you do this for me, otherwise it's not there. So the outer planets cause us to change something about ourselves that's ego-based so that we can move into a higher octave or a broader expression. It moves us out of the space of grudges and fear-based thinking, and into like you just have to let go. You have to surrender something. With Pluto, you have to. All of the outer planets cause us to have to do that. And because they work on us for such a long period of time, it's inevitable that they win over our ego structure. So we change when we have these transits. We just change. We are morphed from the inside out. So I'm just going to leave it there with those two aspects for the week. We are in the Sun and Libra season. So it is, supportive of the consciousness around relationship dynamics and the consciousness around the desires that we have. By the way, we're starting the Heart's Desire Challenge with some exercises and some other things using this energy to our benefit. So if you would like, I'll post the link below. You can still come in, introduce yourself, and just experience that with us, experience that transformation. But we have this powerful shifting going on today that affects our heart and affects our mind and everything that we're doing to create. So enjoy it, and I will see you very soon.